My grandson's wife demanded $3,500 rent for the house I gave them, so I evicted him and the demand arrived not with anger, but with confidence. That was what stunned me most. I was sitting at the small oak table by the window, the one I had refinished myself 30 years earlier, the varnish still holding the faint scent of lemon oil if you leaned close enough. My tea had gone cold in my hands, untouched, forgotten. Outside, the maple tree I planted the day my grandson was born swayed gently in the breeze. Its branches were thick now, steady, taller than the roof itself. Just like him. My phone buzzed once on the table. Then again. The sound felt intrusive, almost disrespectful in the quiet of the morning. I adjusted my glasses and picked it up, unaware that my life, so carefully stitched together with patience, sacrifice, and long silences, was about to unravel with a single sentence. Since you're technically living on our property now, we'll need you to start paying rent. $3,500 monthly seems fair. I read it once, then again, and again. By the fourth time my hands were trembling, not just from shock, but from the bitter irony curling in my chest. Our property. The house I bought with 37 years of factory wages. The house I repaired brick by brick after my husband passed away. The house I gave to my grandson as a wedding gift, without asking for a single dollar in return. And now I was being charged rent. The house that held generations. This house was never just walls and wood. It was scraped knees and hurried bandages. It was late-night homework at the kitchen table and whispered prayers before exams. It was birthday candles melted crooked into homemade cakes, because store-bought ones felt like an unnecessary luxury. It was where my husband and I argued softly so the children wouldn't hear, and laughed loudly when we thought they were asleep. It was also where I stood alone in the kitchen the night my husband died, gripping his favorite chipped mug, realizing that silence could be heavier than grief itself. After the children grew up and moved away, the house became too large for just me, but I stayed. Every creak of the floorboard knew my name, every wall held a memory. Leaving felt like erasing a life I had earned. Then my grandson Daniel came into my world like sunlight after a long winter. He spent summers here, sleeping on the couch with his feet dangling off the edge. He helped me fix the fence, even when he did it wrong. He called me Nanny proudly, even when his friends laughed. When he graduated college and told me he was getting married, his voice shaking with excitement, I didn't hesitate. "You'll need a good start," I told him. "A home," I said. "This one is yours." He cried, actually cried, wrapped his arms around me like he used to when he was small, promised I'd always have a place here. I transferred the house to his name 6 months after the wedding. That was my mistake. Enter the wife. Her name was Melissa. Perfect hair, sharp heels, a smile that never quite reached her eyes. She checked her phone constantly, even while people were speaking to her, as if every conversation was a distraction from something more important. At first she was pleasant enough, complimented my cooking, called me sweet, told her friends how lucky Daniel was to have a grandmother like me. But politeness, I learned, can be temporary. Soon my furniture became outdated. My curtains were dark. My cooking was too traditional. My presence, she said once with a laugh, was confusing their independence. She suggested I move into the guest room. Then she suggested I help with groceries. Then utilities. Then rent. Daniel never argued. He avoided my eyes, laughed nervously, changed the subject. Every silence felt heavier than words. I told myself, this is temporary. Young couples struggle. Don't be difficult. So I swallowed my pride. Until the message arrived. The rent demand. $3,500. Not $300. Not $500. $3,500. For a house that had been paid off before Melissa ever learned how to spell mortgage. I called Daniel immediately. No answer. I called again. Straight to voicemail. When he finally came home that night, Melissa spoke before he could even remove his jacket. Well, she said casually, kicking off her shoes, did you see the message? I nodded slowly. That amount is high, I said carefully, choosing each word like it might shatter. She shrugged. That's market rate. Market rate for my house? I asked. Our house, she corrected smoothly. Daniel stared at the floor like it might swallow him. I gave you this house, I said, my voice trembling despite my effort to remain calm. And we're grateful, she replied, but ownership comes with rules. Rules? That word echoed in my ears long after the lights went out. The silence that broke me. Weeks passed. Daniel avoided confrontation. Melissa did not. Printed rental terms appeared on the kitchen counter. She mentioned late fees. She reminded me that legally I had no claim. I stopped sleeping well. Food lost its taste. I began to feel like a visitor in the home that had once known my footsteps better than my own children did. One afternoon I struggled to carry a basket of laundry upstairs. My knees ached, my breath came shallow. Melissa walked past me without slowing down. That was the moment something inside me finally broke. Not loudly, quietly, and forever. The decision. I didn't scream. I didn't argue. I called a lawyer. The same lawyer who had helped draft the house transfer documents. There was a clause Melissa never bothered to read. A clause my late husband insisted on adding, his voice firm even through illness. Lifetime residency rights for the original owner. Immediate revocation upon financial exploitation or coercion. The lawyer paused, then said gently, "You can reclaim the house." I closed my eyes. And for the first time in weeks I breathed freely. "Yes," I said, "I want it back." The eviction, The notice was delivered on a Tuesday morning. Melissa laughed when she read it. Daniel went pale. "You can't do this," she said sharply. "I already have," I replied. She screamed, accused, threatened lawsuits that never came. Daniel finally looked at me, not as a boy, but as a man facing consequences. "You let this happen," I said quietly, "and now you must live with it." They were given 60 days. Melissa packed with fury. Daniel packed with shame. When the door closed behind them, the house exhaled. So did I. The aftermath. Months later, Daniel tried to apologize. Not with accountability, but with explanations. I was under pressure. I didn't know how to stand up to her. "I didn't think you'd actually." I raised my hand. "I didn't raise you to forget gratitude," I said softly. "But I also didn't raise you to lose your spine. We speak now. Carefully. Briefly. At a distance." Melissa never contacted me again. The house today. The maple tree still sways outside my window. I refinished the table again, painted the walls a lighter color, filled the house with laughter, friends, neighbors, chosen family. The house is quieter now, but it is mine. And more importantly, so is my dignity. Moral of the story. Generosity should never cost you respect. Love does not mean surrendering your boundaries. And sometimes, reclaiming what's yours isn't revenge. It's self-respect finally coming home.